What's going on, everybody? It's AquaLeaderJesse back again with another SGB review reaction. Today we're doing a two-parter because I guess Sonic Unleashed, the Xbox 360 came in two parts, and then he's also got a Wii version review that's separate, but we're just doing the Xbox 360 one for now. Let's see what's up.
Okay, now is the moment that some of you have been waiting for.
I don't think I've seen the SGB review of this. I know I've seen the Johnny versus video on it. I've seen every Johnny versus Sonic video. I've seen almost every Johnny versus video in general. I think there's only a few I haven't seen. But definitely all the Sonic ones multiple times.
It's time for my review of Sonic Unleashed. Now, if you guys have seen
Also, look at all that hair.
It's time for my
It's
review
weird to see.
of Sonic Unleashed. Now, if you guys have seen my three-part series of 3D Sonic games, you might have realized that
That is no longer up, by the way.
I think that Sonic titles are pretty hit and miss. So, does Sonic Unleashed completely crap on those titles, or is it just another addition to that steaming pile of crap? Let's plug it in and find out.
Granted, when this came out, the last Sonic game they got was Sonic 06. So I don't blame him for being skeptical.
Okay, so I previously
Dude, he's got an MP3 player plugged in over there. Might even be an iPod. That's black. That looks like the old pod charger. I don't know. Well, it could still be just a regular MP3 player.
stated in my rant of Sonic Unleashed that I found the game pretty damn enjoyable, but that isn't exactly
He's got a Decepticon logo on his Wii.
specific, so let's take a deeper look. Now, upon the announcement of the game, a lot of people viewed it with an extremely negative eye, namely because of one thing, Sonic's Warhog transformation. Even I was truly skeptical about it because it looked completely stupid.
Okay, I was stoked. But to be fair, I was obsessed with werewolves at the time, so having like one of my favorite game franchises of all time dive into something I was obsessed with at the moment was a recipe success for me.
Now, as the months went by, new footage of the game became released showing Sonic off in his true glory. Then the Warhog footage was shown and my predictions were true. It's completely combat based. In fact, upon glancing at the footage, I immediately thought of God of War, only with Sonic in his Warhog form. Anyway,
I don't
release
think
day
there's
came
anything
and I
wrong with
couldn't wait
that.
to finally try this game out. I put the game inside the Xbox 360, fired the game up, and was greeted by the opening cinematic. Just look.
Dude, this opening cinematic is the best video footage in all of Sonic. Like, this opening cinematic has yet to be topped for any Sonic media when it comes to just something to watch.
At this video reminds me of Sonic's days of old, where it was just him versus Robotnik.
It's I love the Sonic movies, especially Sonic 3, but this animation tops all of them for me still.
Or Eggman, whatever you prefer. Sonic appears to be captured.
Also, I'm not somebody who's nostalgic for just Sonic and Eggman. I love all the side characters. I want, the Chaotix. I want Team Dark in there. I want Amy. I want Big. I guess Amy that doesn't really go. She kind of hangs around in all of them. But I want Big, Cream the Rabbit. I'd like to see showing up more. Get me Silver and Blaze. But freaking give me Tangle and Whisper. Put Surge in there. We got to. I want to get everybody.
But then goes Super,
Linolan from the comics.
completely catching Eggman.
Why is there an I like this over here? Okay.
Upon completely obliterating some of Eggman's bases, Super Sonic traps Eggman in a corner where he begs Sonic not to destroy
Still
him.
got the smoke alarm.
Sonic begins smack talking to him, giving Eggman enough time to activate a machine which traps Super Sonic and sucks the energy out of the Chaos Emeralds. It then powers up a beam that Eggman fires towards the planet. The result is the planet becoming separated into 7 pieces, awakening a creature within known as Dark Gaia. Seriously, how the hell does the planet not die from such an event? Not to mention, just
Yeah, I've always wondered that too. How are people not destroyed whenever this happens? How is the entire planet's population not wiped out?
how many people die when this shit happened. I mean, seriously, if Sonic Team thinks we can safely go on and think that nobody was harmed when this happened, they must have think that we were either raised with football helmets on our heads or completely oblivious to logic. Anyway, while all this is happening, Sonic undergoes a bizarre transformation, leaving him fuzzier and slightly more menacing than before. Oh look, it turns out Sonic actually has hands. The day
I have a somewhere. I might be in the other room. I have a plushie of the werehog.
when we actually see Sonic's feet is when Sonic fangirls are crying enjoyment. After that, Eggman launches Sonic out of the base and lets him fall towards the earth, expecting him to die.
Also, I love the werehog's design. I I don't see what people's problem with it is. Personally, I'm not even an Unleashed defender per se. I do love the Sonic levels, but time wise, you spend way more time playing as the Werehog than as Sonic.
Of course, if Shadow the Hedgehog can survive the fall, then I'm sure Sonic can. Sonic manages to land on solid ground, though I gotta say, if he managed to land in the now exposed core of the Earth, I'd be laughing pretty damn hard. Upon regaining
Man, imagine the opening cinematic ends with the falling down into that, and then it's just credits.
consciousness, Sonic finds a little critter that he landed on upon impact who can't remember anything about himself.
Uh-oh. Did I fall on him?
Lawsuit! Sonic feels that he was responsible for his memory loss and decides
Okay.
to help him. The sun rises and Sonic reverts back to his original form. So, while it's daytime, Sonic's
I always thought it was weird that I understand why, especially like now as an adult, but that Sonic, like regular Sonic's model, looks so much better than Werehog's model. And it's obviously because Werehog is all hair, whereas Sonic is not. But
himself, but while at night, he's the Warhog.
like where
While taking a
I
stroll
missed
around
it.
the town, Sonic decides to name the creature Chip after witnessing him having a total orgasm over dessert.
I love it.
Oh, no. With the help of his old buddy Tails and Professor Pickle, yes I know that's his name, Sonic
Also, what on earth are those
finds
eyebrows?
out that he must travel
What are those eyebrows, sir? Like, I'm not somebody who says people need to get their eyebrows trimmed, but dude, holy shit. I've never seen eyebrows that long.
to each broken continent and place a Chaos Emerald inside the continent's temple in order to restore its power and put the Earth back together. After restoring the 6th temple, Chip manages to regain his memory where he tells Sonic that he's actually like Gaia.
Also, one thing with this game's story that I did not like was I understand why it's because of Sonic 06 for sure, but this was the start of the I don't know what to call it, but the re-childification of Sonic. Because it was getting like more like dark or more serious stories. Just kept going, starting from Adventure, and as you continued through the series up through Sonic 06. Um, and they'd have tons of side characters and everything. Especially like in the same vein as Sonic. You'd introduce, in Adventure you got like maybe it was already in there. You got Big, for example, getting introduced, Gamma, and then Adventure 2, you got Shadow and Rouge, and then you go into Heroes, you got the Chaos. Well, Chaotix technically had been introduced before, but now they're getting like reintroduced to the mainstream. But then you got Cream the Rabbit, and then E123 Omega as well, Neo Metal Sonic, and you got the Shadow the Hedgehog game, and that was all kinds of dark. But then you go into Sonic 06, you got Blaze making her home console debut as well as Silver. But here they they yoinked all the side characters away, where you just got the main four again. And even then, only Sonic and Tails appear regularly, and mostly just Sonic, which became a thing for way too long. After this, I don't think we had like a good amount of side characters appearing regularly until like Sonic Forces, and even then, it wasn't that much. It was just in text scenes for the most part between levels. And Sonic Frontiers still didn't have anybody outside of the big four in it.
the complete opposite of Dark Gaia, and that it's his job to put an end to Dark Gaia's rampage. Sonic, of course, won't let him do that alone and decides to go with him to restore one last temple. While harnessing the power of Dark Gaia, Eggman finally manages to create Eggman Land, which I still think is a pretty lame ass name. It just so happens that the last temple is inside this circus from hell, so Sonic and Chip head inside. They manage to reach the temple and restore the final Chaos Emerald. There they fight Eggman in one final confrontation where Sonic the Warthog promptly hands his ass to him.
Time for a change of pace.
Dark Gaia is restored to full power and turns on Eggman, big freaking surprise there, and turns his attention towards Sonic and Chip. Upon glancing at Sonic, he rips the Warthog from within, making it impossible for him to become that abomination ever again. Dark Gaia then attempts to kill the weakened Sonic, but Chip intervenes and uses the power within to do the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time.
Awaken and gather here to
This was cool, to be honest. I didn't have a problem with this. Still got that smoke alarm. How are you looking at, Johnny? What did I do? Stop looking at me like that.
Did anybody else play the Power Rangers theme when witnessing this? So, with Chip controlling the Gaia Colossus and Sonic becoming Super once
Power
more, the two managed to
Rangers.
obliterate Dark Gaia complete with slow motion and an anticlimactic flash. Fulfilling his duty, Chip sends Sonic back to the surface while the last piece of the planet is set in place, leaving Chip inside the core with the dying Dark Gaia. Sonic regains his composure and speeds off with Tails, ending the game with a satisfying note. Looking at this scene, again, reminds me of the old days, where Sonic rode on top of the tornado as the credits scrolled by. Those were the days. Okay, story aside,
I know he's a Genesis kid for Sonic. Genesis up through Adventure. The two eras of purists, really. You got the Genesis era and then the Adventure era purists. I am not a Genesis era purist, saying the games are good, don't get me wrong. And I'm not an Adventure era purist, though, again, the games are good, don't get me wrong. Sonic Adventure 2, specifically, is still one of my favorite games of all time. Uh, um, I just don't have any, like, as somebody that was raised during the and Sonic Heroes was my first game, but you know that era when you got all the side characters, um, I I don't have any like man, those were the days for during the Genesis era where you just had the few characters.
there's the gameplay. Well, like Sonic and the Secret Rings, you only control Sonic throughout the game. Each continent has their own respective daytime stages and nighttime stages. During the day, you're Sonic in all of his glory, and during the night, you control his Warhog form. When you finish
Werehog, not Warhog. Found as aroma lacked a certain appeal.
a stage, you're given a final score and a ranking like the previous titles. Depending
You clear Soliana after every meal.
on your performance, you can also gain experience to increase attributes like Sonic's maximum speed, the boost gauge, or any of the Warhog's many attributes. In order to access more stages, you need to collect
I know Soliana is Sonic 06, but still.
Sun and Moon medals. Think of it as like collecting Power Stars in Super Mario 64, only just stupid. Seriously, what were they thinking when they decided to put medal collecting in this game? Some stages require large amounts of medals to gain access, and most of the time you'll be blazing past them in Sonic stages. They're easier to spot on the Warhog stages, but that's only because you're not soaring around at the speed of sound. Whatever happened to just going from stage to stage? Daytime stages are absolutely incredible.
I don't have
The
any
sheer
problem
sense of
with
speed you can achieve is
exploration on it.
mind-blowing. You don't believe me? Just take a look. Taking
Oh,
a
I
note
love
from
that
Sonic
track.
Rush, Sonic now has a boost maneuver. Pressing the X button sends Sonic going insanely fast, destroying everything in his path. Sonic's homing attack is back in full swing, though now it's been oddly giving its own button.
Speaking of Sonic Rush, did Sonic Rush Rerun ever come out? No, but there's a demo out for it. Okay. I want to play Rerun when it comes out. Sorry, just got he said Sonic Rush and it got me thinking about it.
Before you had to jump and press the jump button again in order to perform it, but now after jumping with the A button, you now have to press the X button in order to execute it.
Yeah, that I thought was weird. That threw me off too, to be honest. Also, Sonic Rush Rerun is a 2.5D remake of Sonic Rush that a fan is doing. You should look it up if you're interested.
It took a while for me to get used to, but it's no big deal. Until I learned the air boost. Initially, Sonic could only perform the Sonic boost on the ground, but after obtaining the air boost shoes, he can now perform it in midair. Can you
Also, it throws me off going back to Sonic Unleashed because inherently I use X to try to boost in the air. So having that be the homing attack button is really weird to me.
You guess what button you press? That's right, the X button. So what does this mean? Simple. Sometimes when I'm trying to perform the homing attack, I accidentally do the air boost, usually sending me hurling to my death. It makes me wonder why they couldn't just leave it hitting the A button twice. Sonic also now has the quick step. With the press of LB or RB, Sonic will quickly step to the side to keep his momentum going. In addition to 3D gameplay, there's also 2D gameplay thrown into the mix, harkening Sonic back to his Genesis days. Though it doesn't exactly emulate the feel of the old titles, it's still pretty damn fun.
But yeah, the gameplay is completely different. Anything I'd check how it compares to Sonic Rush.
Of course, Sonic isn't all about running through shit. There's also plenty of platforming, keeping things from getting stale. On a side note, Sonic also has this sweep kick, but I haven't found one use for this move whatsoever. When the sun sets, the Warhog
Yeah, I mean, Spyro has that roll move. I don't think anybody ever uses it.
comes into play. Gone is the thrilling speed, and what we're left with is pure combat and platforming. Think of it as a mixture of God of War and Kingdom Hearts, only not as fun. You attack by
And you listen to the same song every single time you go into battle. Hope you like some intense jazz.
swinging Sonic's arms, which for some reason now have the ability to stretch like Stretch Armstrong. You can alternate between the X and Y buttons to pull off some fancy looking combos, and you can use the B button to grab enemies with an arrow above their head. Then, after inputting the button sequence on time, you can perform a combo finisher which finishes the enemy off. Upon killing enemies, you also fill up a meter that, when filled to a certain point, allows Sonic to enter his Unleashed state. His strength increases as well as his movement capabilities, and definitely makes combat easier to handle. He also has a shield button, but you know what? I never once used it. Sometimes I completely forgot I had it in the first place, but I managed to finish the game just fine. Though Sonic the Warhol can't run
Please get your smoke alarm fixed, dude.
nearly as fast as his daytime counterpart, he can still dash, which makes exploration a little easier. He can also double jump and use his stretchy arms to grab onto the ledges and climb up poles. However, these stages are more of a drag than they are fun. One serious problem is they take forever to finish. Some stages have me clocking on 30 to 35 minutes, and that's when I play with minimum error. The enemies you face are also extremely boring. Besides the usual egg bots, you also fight Dark Gaia spawn, but there's little to no variety in them, so fighting them becomes pretty boring with each passing stage.
It does. It gets very boring very fast.
The platforming sections aren't so bad, but they can be pretty frustrating because of the view you're given in some stages. Sometimes you can't see where to jump next, and sometimes you're not sure what to jump on. And for some strange reason, Sonic doesn't
I'm terrible with depth perception in games like this, so I would definitely be susceptible to that problem.
always have a drop shadow, which makes it impossible to determine where you're gonna land.
That's a pet peeve of mine. If you're gonna have us do a platformer, give us a drop shadow so we know where we are. Because it's not realistic lighting and graphics.
It doesn't sound so bad, but in 3D platforming stage, drop shadows are a constant must.
Yes, they are an absolute must.
Where the hell did they go when they disappear? Also, I've heard about people complaining about how awkward it is to grab poles and ledges, but a simple cure is to simply hold the B button down when making tricky jumps. Sonic
Yeah, I didn't think it was really that hard.
will automatically grab the nearest available ledge as long as you're close enough. Also, am I the only one who thinks Sonic's death scream as the Warhog is completely over the top? Jesus! What, did he receive testicular torture while falling into the abyss? Make sure you tune in for part 2 of my Sonic Unleashed review. I didn't mean it to be 2 parts, but shit happens. Well, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for part 2. It's coming up real soon.
Okay, well, that's part 1. Okay, we gotta go back, and we're gonna click on part 2. I've watched part 1 before continuing, now on to part 2. Got it.
I mentioned in my rant video that the Warhawk stages aren't that bad, but after I finished the game, I found no interest in replaying any of them. I love replaying the Sonic stages, but I can't find myself to go through the Warhawk stages again just to collect more medals and improve my status. But one stage I can't replay no matter who I am is the final stage, Eggman Land. Seriously, this place is hell incarnate with roller coasters. There's difficult, but then there's just cheap. It's bad enough that this stage throws everything at you with the kitchen sink, but it's so freaking long. It took me 72 minutes to complete this stage the first time. 72 minutes! An hour and 12 minutes on one stage?
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
To the person
Dude,
One stage?
Wish video much? Couldn't have cropped it?
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
To the person out there who
This
managed to complete this stage in about
is
10 minutes, I applaud you, you freak.
dog
Seriously,
shit.
you must be from another planet to accomplish such a feat. But seriously, good job. Boss battles are pretty damn fun, especially Sonic's battles against Dr. Eggman. Not only are they fast-paced, but they're also an intense test of reflexes. The Warhog's boss battles aren't too bad either, but they're definitely more slower-paced. Now the last boss, Dark Gaia, is a completely different genre. I hate this boss battle. After finishing a ridiculously easy fight with Eggman and his Egg Dragoon, Dark
Time
Gaia
for a
takes
change
the
of
scene.
pace.
You begin the fight by controlling the Gaia Colossus, which moves with the grace of a sumo wrestler. You have to make it to Dark Gaia in order to inflict damage, but along the way he'll throw great balls of fire and a giant laser, which is impossible to avoid. And I'm not kidding about that. You're gonna get hit with that laser no matter what. You have a guard button which lowers the damage you take, and a punch button which can take out the boulders that are unavoidable. But it's delayed beyond belief. You have to time it just right or you can kiss a chunk of your health goodbye. After reaching Dark Gaia, you input more button sequences to lay the smackdown on him, and then you're given control of Sonic. Sonic's goal is to get to one of Dark Gaia's many eyeballs and give it a beating when he reaches it. After reaching the eye, you're given control of the Gaia Colossus again, where you repeat the sequence 2 more times, getting more difficult as you progress.
The old platformer rule of 3 for boss battles.
Holy shit, did you see that? Good lord, look at that. That's creepy. Good lord, I thought this face was disturbing, but looks like I just found my new face. The difficulty of the Gaia's Colossus sections aren't too noticeable, but Sonic's portions are just downright evil. While trying to reach the eye, you have to avoid touching the Dark Gaia tentacles and projectiles that it spawn throw at you, which also have a pretty large blast radius upon hitting the ground, making them almost impossible to avoid. Not only that, but you're on an invisible time limit. If you don't make it to the eye a few seconds after Chip says, then you might as well restart the section over again, because you probably won't make it. Anyway, the final boss consists of Supersonic vs. Perfect Dark Gaia. Upon starting this fight, I'm immediately reminded
Perfect Dark. Still too soon, man. I really wanted to play that game whenever the new Perfect Dark came out. That reboot looked great.
of the Doomsday Zone, where you have to collect rings and avoid rocks until you reach the boss himself. Unlike previous titles where Supersonic's lifespan is determined by how many rings he has left,
I know it technically didn't have real gameplay shown, but the concept was really cool.
he now has a life bar which you can fill up by collecting rings. It's an odd change,
Supersonic having a life bar is still weird to me.
but I don't mind it too much. After reaching Perfect Dark Gaia, you have to eliminate his shield, being emitted by 6 dragon heads all across it. From this point, the action becomes 2D, and you must guide Supersonic to ram straight into the dragon heads. While doing this, you have to keep in mind of the Gaia Colossus' health bar, which acts as the time limit of the sword, because if it goes down completely, you have to start over. God damn it, Chip! Can't you just leave this battle to Supersonic? After removing the shield, the rest of the battle simply becomes hitting the right button on time as Supersonic finishes Perfect Dark Gaia,
Called a QTE, QuickTime event.
ending with you button mashing the shit out of the X button. The music in this game, again, is great. In my
Oh,
opinion,
yeah.
it still doesn't beat out Sonic Adventure, but there's more variety in this soundtrack than ever. Each stage music reflects the area that you're in, like a more oriental sound within the China stages, and a more of a tropical sound within the island-based stage. The Warhog stage music is also fantastic, but one you might get sick of pretty damn fast is the battle music whenever you encounter an enemy.
Yes, I hated this music so fast.
It's a pretty upbeat track in itself, but it plays every time you encounter an enemy that isn't a boss, and because of that, it gets really repetitive really fast. The regular boss music is also pretty catchy, my favorite being the Warhogs because it's a song you can tap your foot along. But I can't help but think of that one musical piece that used to play in the Chips Ahoy commercials. The final boss music is also incredible, another job well done by the sound crew. It just adds
Of
to the
course.
overall feel of the final battle, and for that, I applaud it.
Mhm.
The voice acting is also pretty good. Sonic's delivery is top notch, as well as Dr. Eggman's.
I guess
Tails'
it's-
voice is nowhere near as high pitched as it was in the last game.
Last
but
time we have
it's
Jason
too annoying
Griffith,
this
right?
time around. The only character that truly bugs me is Chip. I don't mind the character, but his voice seems so inappropriate for his figure.
Yeah, Chip. Chip. I love it. Yum. Now,
It's like a little girl greeting you, but when she opens her mouth, her voice
Sounds like this.
Secondly, where does he keep pulling that chocolate bar from?
want some chocolate, Professor? Want some chocolate?
On second thought, I'd rather not know. Overall, this game is pretty solid, but as a person who's grown up with Sonic, I have a few nitpicks. First off, I can't help but notice how much wimpier they're making Sonic nowadays. Now, it's known that Sonic cannot swim, but in this game, Sonic can't even touch water without dying. Whatever happened to the old days where Sonic...
To be fair, when you show him touching water, he's above a bottomless pit of water, basically. It's the ocean. I know he goes down to the bottom of the ocean here, but like, I think it's safe to assume he didn't have a way back up.
could run in water. A similar rule applies to the final battle with Super Sonic. You have to avoid the rocks while moving toward the shield. If you touch them, you get hurt. Whatever happened to the old Super Sonic where he could touch rocks and shit without leaving a scratch? Sure, it slowed down his progress a bit, but at least he didn't lose any rings or health. Secondly, where's the goddamn spin dash? I know it's a bit unnecessary in this game considering that Sonic has the Sonic Boost, but
Yeah, there's no reason to use a spin dash in this.
come on, the spin dash is classic. Hell, Sonic can't even roll into a ball while running around anymore. Why not?
Now that's blasphemous.
It's like having a Mario game without the Fire Flower. You just need it. Going back to the subject of Super Sonic, when we're finally going to be able to play as him in regular stages? It sucks that one of the greatest features in the old games have been reduced to a last battle event only. And this has been going on since Sonic Adventure 1.
Don't worry, and at least in a couple games from now, I forget if Colors had it, but I know Generations let you do it. Once you unlocked it, you could get it as a, the ability thingy, the skills, I think it was. You equip it as a skill to be able to use Supersonic.
Hell, even the recent handheld Sonic games don't even have Super Sonic in regular levels. Come on, Sonic Team, give the people what they want. Bring Super Sonic back in regular levels. Last but not least are the hub worlds. Now, I know some people don't mind them, but me, I can't stand them. I don't like the hub worlds.
I could take them or leave them, honestly. I didn't think they were terrible. They're better than Sonic 06's hub worlds, where they were massive for no reason, but they still weren't great by any means. There's no Mario 64, that's for sure.
Completely detract away from the overall experience of the game. I just wish the game would go from stage to stage. I don't know about you guys, but I don't find anything enjoyable about moving around and talking to people in order to access the next stage. It should just be from stage to stage like the classic games. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I can go on a bit longer with the nitpicking, but I'll leave that in a future video. Overall, the Sonic stages are incredible, the boss battles are great, and the music is fantastic. My only gripes are with the Warhog. It just seems so unnecessary, and it's a shame that you have to play with him a lot. If the game consisted of nothing but Sonic daytime stages, then this game would be my favorite 3D Sonic game by far.
I wonder if the Werehog came out of necessity because they were like, we don't have the time or resources to be able to make these detailed of levels, make enough of them to fill out an entire game. Because the fast stages require more resources because you're zooming past so much of it, even though you're going through it quicker. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go past to be able to make that last a while. That takes a lot of time and resources for not a lot of not a lot of content. But if you make one that goes slower, you don't have to make as many.
But that's
Make as
simply
many
not the
assets.
case, and because of that, this game falls short of complete greatness. So for my final score, I'd give Sonic Unleashed around an 8 out of 10. And yes, I changed the rating system. This one feels a little more flexible.
Yeah, Sonic, I'm stuck with Unleashed. I'm stuck between like a 7.5 and an 8. The Werehog sections just really drag it down. Unfortunately, I'm leaning more toward like a 7.5. Daytime stages are like a 9, but it's not just daytime stages. Unfortunately, I'd rather just boot up Project Unleashed or Unleashed Project. All right, well, interesting. I didn't expect him to have this positive of a review on it. Yes, and he still has the same complaints that you usually tend to see from it, but I didn't expect such a positive score and everything. I hated it more. If I recall, his versus video is a little more negative, but it could be wrong. It's been a minute since I watched it. We'll see whenever we get there eventually. But thank you everybody for watching. Remember to follow me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AquaLeaderJesse, where all my gameplay and videos are recorded first. They'll always end up on YouTube later, but that's where it's recorded first if you want to hang out during. Thank you everybody for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.